And then we came to the almost 10 o'clock hour, but they worked it so that this would be what people would see in progress when they tuned in. Bron Breakker and Ilja Dragunov. And obviously, a lot of people were talking about this, and everybody was, oh, this is the thing that, you have to see if you watch this episode. And I was almost in the middle there. I was there, too much for Ilja, too much for Ilja. But I ended up liking the match and the finish, and then of course the aftermath of all the occasion when Ricochet decided to stick his future endeavored ass at it. No, they didn't fire him. He quit. He decided he wasn't going to stay. But didn't this mean more 30 years ago when everybody watching didn't already know the guy was leaving? Remember those wonderful days?
Of course it did, because you didn't know anything was happening until it happened. But if you know someone's leaving, now the game is, how are they going to do it? And I mean, if you're going to put someone over on the way out, he did it here.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking is we'll get to it when we get there, but I'm thinking he was trying to work a fucking insurance deal. With a couple of the bumps he took, is like, fuck them. They'll have to pay me to fucking be reconstructed surgically, or I'll sue them for $5 million. 877-50-STEVE. But anyway, so the match with Bron and Ilja was a fight with modern movement, mostly coming from Ilja. And it wasn't Bron's finest hour. I see the green, and it's not, I don't know that it's Ilja's fault, as because he was helping him on several occasions that I saw subtly with timing or, when to turn. I think this is Bron having to go a long time with a fast-moving guy that does a lot of intricate shit. And that's the part I think may have gone past him. I don't know why he got off track there, but they built it right. It was Bron Breakker would overpower him, but Ilja would use the quickness and the smarts. And Bron would explode with the ground and pound, but Ilja would stick and move. And right away in the first, they went probably 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes to break or whatever, like always. But I think Bron needs to work on selling more surprised, stunned, off balance, and less hurt, ass kicked. Just boom. This early in a match versus a smaller guy. And that's stuff that he still needs experience before he's able to figure out, because some guys it takes, a lot longer for him to figure everything out than it has him. But I noticed that you can do it when you're a big, strong guy like that, but you're so animated facially and physically. You can sell more of a scramble or a slip or a fucking off balance, or I never expected that, or I can't see, something's in my eye. And you can be even more animated, bumping all over the place without actually looking like you're getting your ass kicked. Can you visually, from all the matches you've seen, understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
I can.
Hopefully Bron can. Somebody show him some tapes of those matches in Bron's mind. He can get them from the internet providers in your walls. But anyway, but then at one point, when they came back from the break, Bron was getting the heat on Ilja, and he went for a power slam. And at first I thought he might be doing the crotch lift and left arm around the midsection. I think I've seen one of the senior Steiners. Have you seen the senior Steiners? One of them do it like that, but then he went to grab the regular grip. It didn't look pretty. And then he's trying the ground and pound elbows to the head that didn't look good. Because Ilja, he was on his face. Ilja couldn't see him or sell him. And Bron, it wasn't looking like he was connecting. And again, one more thing. Ilja makes a comeback and goes for a knee drop off the, I think it was second buckle. And right as he's coming down, Bron put his arms in over his chest, and the knee drop looked kind of fucked up. And I'm wondering, is that something they tell the kids to do these days? Or did Bron just freak out and like, oh my God, because why would you put your forearms up with a guy knee dropping your chest? You're going to break your arms and his fucking shin. And it looked like that's what he did, except nobody sold anything. But Mike, if you'd have done that to Bobby Eaton, he'd have been freaked out. He'd never want to do a knee off top again. How do they change the target in mid-move now? I see that all the time. They cover up. They're throwing punches and people are covering up, so you can't hit anything. You just have to swing at nothing. And that's why it looks like it. What the fuck? Am I digressing here?
No, I am actually enjoying sitting back and hearing you break down this match.
Well, that's and then Ilja went with 2 German suplexes where he holds the grip, right? And by the way, and I love Ilja. I'm not knocking Ilja. I think Ilja was probably the better worker in this match. Well, without doubt, the more experienced and better worker all around. But I think it's a clash of styles for Bron this early. He has not done these things before, or a lot, maybe. I don't know. But also he does the 2 Germans, and then somehow Bron tried to break the grip, and he Germaned Bron with one leg. He did, and it was great for Ilja. But I think it's early for Bron Breakker to be German suplexed by one fucking leg by a guy half his size. But I said, well, what the fuck? Bron seems lost by this point anyway. And then Ilja beat Bron up some more. And apparently reminded him of a thing or two also. That's why I'm saying this is, I don't know. And that Bron did a clothesline they called a Steiner line, which all the, I guess the people who are 12 or 14 years old, it just goes over their head. They did get a "This is awesome" chant from the people. And then finally, they go out on the floor, and Bron gave Ilja the gourd buster-like move, but dropped his ribs over the edge of the announce desk. And then picked him up and dropped his ribs on the railing. And then picked him up and fucking posted him. And this is where, Ilja, some people accuse it of being too much. He oversells, but he doesn't oversell in terms of Shawn Michaels silly bumping, for Hogan or whatever, right? But he screams in his facials and he's in pain. But here it worked. He was screaming, selling his ribs and shit. And then he got speared. And then he speared him on the floor. And then he fucking, Bron got back in the ring, and Ilja beats the count at like 9. And he got speared again. That's Bron Breakker that gets over, is the fucking spear and a spear and a spear. He still needs work on going 15, 20 minutes or whatever. But anyway, so boom, 1, 2, 3. And after the celebration, Bron goes to spear him, as Ilja is on the floor leaning on the barricade. And you can see him doing the spot. Oh, he's going to come and spear him through the barricade. And suddenly Ricochet, who has not been a factor or been seen or whatever, appears flying in off the top of the barricade from the people's side and stops Bron. Boom, and down he goes, and that looked great. And then he drop kicked him over the railing. And there was, hard feelings there. And then somehow, and I'll let you comment on this, they went to a world tag team title match between Miz and Truth and the AOP with Cross and Scarlett and blah, blah, blah as the next thing in between that and the next time we see Braun and Ricochet. But what do you think of the match?
I thought the match was good. I really enjoyed it. I'm really enjoying Braun Breaker, and I like Ilya. You always worry about Ilya being a smaller guy, even though he's cut and everything. But the size difference really wasn't the problem here. The only thing I would complain about would be, like you said, I like Ilya, but Braun Breaker probably, in my eyes, shouldn't be having competitive matches with anyone yet. Beyond him, what he can and can't do in the ring, and you broke that down pretty good. They're still building him up, and I know they do a big angle with him on this show. But a big angle after he beats someone without sweating, is a little different than after a long competitive match where the other guy could have won a few times.
Well, yeah, a few times he could have. But here's
and
the
that
thing:
spot over the spot over the table where he dropped him, that was pretty bad. That was
But I will agree with what you said about everything, except I'll leave out the word anyone. He shouldn't be having competitive matches right now. There are, yes, if they put him in right now against one of the top main event guys, obviously it should be competitive. And I think he would shine, and they could still do a DQ or whatever because it's too early to beat him. But the problem is Ilya is new as well. He hasn't really had as much main television as Braun has. So if Ilya was the same person, they had the same match in the same way, but it was Ilya had been here for a year and a half, and people he was over somewhat. He was known. He's impressed people on multiple occasions. Then it would have been easier to take this, but it felt like they just said, "Oh, they may have had a good match in NXT or whatever, so let's do this." But that was the problem.
They said that too. By the way, they said they had a whole series of matches in NXT, which obviously we never saw.
Oh, good Lord. Well, and maybe they had one before I was thinking, but in that case, if they had a series of matches and this was the one they had on fucking Raw, it wasn't that good. I mean, I love both guys and I love Braun Breaker. He's the future, but even Bruce Springsteen, I guess, gets a sore throat every now and then.
Whoa. Yeah, that would do it.
Yeah.